Noon. Creation was absent. There was no form. There was no force. There was no shape. All was tenuous and sinuous. Time had not begun. There was no dimension or no direction. There was no space to contain any form. There was no force to emanate any space. This mundane and abstract pool of nothing was the beginning before there was a beginning. Yet there was something beyond and above force, form, and existence. It would never be seen by the eyes of men. It could never be fathomed, for it far exceeded the limited capability of the human brain. It was negative to existence, a polar opposite that predated form, force, and time. This unknowable beginning was noon. It was nothing less. It was none. Noon. The noon was and will forever be beyond description. Any word, thought, idea, anything that would dare to describe the noon would fail. The noon was death before the first birth. The noon was silence before the first sound. The noon was an unopened package with no recipient. The noon was preeminence before the first principle of existence had been issued. The noon was one singular point, lacking cohesion yet having it. It was whole yet broken. It was incomplete yet perfect. It had begun without any genesis. It had never been born but still was always there. It was zero, voidless, void. It was without value but contained all values. All was noon. None was noon. Noon was a paradox. That which is beyond description can only be conceived of as a watery abyss. There is no other image that can accurately portray noon. To label the noon with anything within the observable, knowable universe would be sheer folly. A mind and intellect that would far surpass human consciousness would be required to understand the noon. Truly, to the immortals of the cosmos, the noon would always be thought of as a dark and chaotic, watery abyss. Noon was nothing, yet nothing is something. To comprehend the paradox of noon, there is something that is nothing. The chaotic, watery abyss, devoid of light, is the only smidge of a clue that can be offered. Attempting to convey such concepts would be akin to explaining the color orange to a man who's been born blind, or waiting for a bird with a clipped wing to fly. For within or beyond the noon came the first inkling of something that was not nothing absolute. This was the first spark, the first force, the first sound, the first vibration. It was a meek yet mighty ripple in noon. It was the first activity that opened the paradox of noon. The primary ripple of creation made a noise, which all of the yet to be manifested universe is heard. The initial activity of Genesis is first sound. The first word and the first name was Ptah.